afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tim Gillette, and this is the Tim Gillette Show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another great episode. And you know what? I've got another cool guy that you've got to meet. Now, I know very little about this guy. I mean, very little. I went to his website, I checked him out, but then I listened to a little bit of other podcasts he's on and realized I can't wait to interview this guy because this guy is like a business guy like you and me. This guy is someone who's out there kicking it. Shall we say kicking it? I love that. Anyway, we'll get to that later. All right. He's someone who has worked with his passion, something that he's passionate about. He's working with it. He's making it a business, and he's changing the world. All right. And I know he's down. I already know the area he's from, but let me bring him on screen here. Elandas, right?
Yes, Elandas. Thanks, Tim.
I got it right the first time.
The first time. You're better than a lot of other people, for sure.
Elandas, welcome to the Tim Gillette Show, man. I understand you're down there in Atlanta right now, and you're getting a little bit of rain.
Yes, it's a little rainy right now here in Atlanta. It was super clear skies about 2 hours ago. I don't know what's going on with the weather here. But if you live in Georgia, you know that the weather is just very bipolar. So it's nice one day, sad the next day, snowing another day. You just never know what you'll get here.
You know what? I mean, have you gotten the ice storms, all right, that lock you down for 3 days yet?
Yeah, we back in, I think, 2014 or 13. Luckily, we didn't get like the Houston 2020 or 2021 snowstorm. Like, it wasn't as crazy as Houston did this year, which is even crazier to think that Texas can get snow and ice down.
There's only one way we get storms that locks us down. It's usually about every 10 or 12 years or whenever we have the Super Bowl here. Because that was our previous one, was the Super Bowl. All right. And they spent everything to build the highways up, to build the roads up. All right. To build the stadium up, to dress the town up. The only thing they didn't plan for was snow and ice.
Yeah, it's hard to plan for that, man. Like, you just don't have the tools and equipment just for snow and ice. The same thing happened in Atlanta is we don't have any kind of infrastructure built around what would happen if a snowstorm comes. So we was not prepared. They call it a snowpocalypse back then. It was crazy days.
Wow. So, you know what I mean? You're a pretty young guy, all right? But have you been in Atlanta your whole life?
Yep, I'm born and raised here.
Okay. Now, are you old enough to remember the Olympics in Atlanta?
I was a kid. I was 4 years old. I just dated myself, but I was 4 years old when the Olympics happened. So I have zero memories of the Olympics, to be honest.
And it's interesting because that's one of the things I remember. And when I lived in the Northeast, now this would have been 1990. 89 through 92, I drove an 18-wheeler, and the most famous route I would do from Philadelphia, 95, 85 to Atlanta.
Yep.
And I would get loaded back up and hop on 85, back to 95, back to back to Philadelphia. And I drove that route, and I remember it because it was the middle of winter. So basically, as soon as I hit the South Carolina line, man, I was all happy because I didn't have snow for the rest of the week.
Exactly. You got some 60-degree weather once you hit that South Carolina line.
Yep. So got me some good old Southern food. I got to tell you, I still, till this day, I moved south. I live in Dallas now, but I mean, when I got below the South, I wanted to go to Waffle House. I wanted to go to breakfast joints. I wanted to get me some grits, all right? Eggs and grits and some biscuits and gravy, baby.
Yeah.
I was a Southern boy. I just happened to be born in the North.
Yeah, I think I was Waffle House 2 weeks ago. So it's always a good staple to go to Waffle House late at night. It's the only thing that's pretty open after a certain time.
Wait a minute. Are you old enough now that I got to ask how old you are, all right? But anyway, yeah, I'm old enough that we had up north, we had Denny's and International House of Pancakes. That was known as the after the party sober up place to drive home.
Yeah, we have Denny's here, not as many, but we have IHOP. And then
but in the South, it's Waffle House that you go to after you leave the club. Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. So, I know that, you've got something going on with sports. That's like the tip of the iceberg I found out was sports. You want to tell me a little bit about what you do and how you're working with people down there in Atlanta right now?
Yeah, so the business is called Kicking It Sports, and I started almost 4 years ago. Basically, we take backyard sports and adults and kind of mix them all together, and we just have a day filled with fun. So our big game is kickball.
Mm-hmm.
So we host 1 or 2 kickball games throughout our events. So our events is about 4 hours long. We have games like kickball, ultimate frisbee. We play like some flag touch football. We play at a park, so the park also has like a basketball court. So it's just any kind of things that you can get our hands on, any balls, any types of equipment. We take that, we get people together. We have some entertainments like a live DJ. We have food, and we also have like little small games that people can also interact with, like Uno, cards, Jenga, Connect Four. So it's like a you can kind of think of it like as Top Golf, but with like actual more interaction between different players and different people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like people come from all around the states, get together and just have some fun.
Now, was this started as like a networking function, or was this started as just something to be able to do as a get together?
Just something to do as a get together. Yep.
Okay. And now I know she said it's a business, but have you turned it into helping other business owners with it? It's hosting business parties type stuff, or is that something you do or no?
That is the next step for sure. Yeah. So looking to go to B2B. So right now we're just B2C, trying to still get all of the logistics out the way. So of course, like get that talent locked down to see who we're going to reach out to come perform, see what games are kind of like our main objectives, see like how next step for me, I think I want to see like what kind of like KPIs I can kind of get with, like how many people can like what's their heart rate or how many steps they're getting in, or like how I can kind of like measure that like using like a Fitbit or something. So that's an idea I want to play around with now. Then I can like use that data to kind of pitch businesses. So say, hey, once you come to one of our events, your attendees will lose some weight, or they'll like lose X amount of calories. They'll have this many steps. Their heart rate will increase up and down to kind of like get that blood flowing and stuff like that. So
that's cool. And I know I have a friend. I think she lives in Tennessee now. When I knew her, she lived down in like the Miami area. But she lives up Tennessee now. Her name's Valerie Wright. And years ago, Valerie was not like, she didn't want to be a speaker. She didn't want to get in front of people. But she wanted to host events. Yeah. And we couldn't figure out what to do with it. She was in a mastermind I was part of. So she came up with this idea of doing, she called it a virtual marathon. No. You're sitting there going, okay, what are you going to do? All right, just pretend you're running a place? No. You had to log with like the Fitbit and stuff like that. You had to log running what would be a marathon. And she actually had, like, she would do it on certain days. So we're doing it from August 20th to August 22nd. Okay, those people are in. You know what I mean? You got to sign up for your, and you got participation trophies. You got trophies for the best. She did. And it was all done online, and you did it in your town. So like you and I could be competing against each other. Wow. I'm in Dallas and you're in Atlanta, and we're competing against each other, and we're not on the same track even. It was a cool idea. Cool. Yeah. So it's like, I think of hers and I think of you, and I'm like, oh my God, there's two very like businesses that they're using individuals, you know what I mean, to get them out there and help them change their health.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So definitely want to get people, I know we live like such a sedentary lifestyle. So like, I know I'm working from home right now. A lot of people are working from home. People like on their devices a lot. Netflix has like the highest subscription rates ever, I think. So a lot of people are just like sitting on the couch watching TV. So I'm trying to just encourage a little people to like get outside, get some fresh air, sweat a little bit, meet some new people, and have a good time. So that's kind of like our main objective, is like to people to have fun, make some new friends, and have lots of laughs. So that's like our main objective. That's like our main goal. And then in the meantime, we just do whatever we need to do to get to that goal.
Yeah. Now, is this your first business, or is this like a second or third business you've started?
This is my first business. Yep.
Okay. And what did you do before you did this?
Yeah, so I worked in corporate America for a few years. I think I had like 3 jobs before I started kicking into sports. So I really felt like the corporate world wasn't like fulfilling enough for me. So like I had like this creative side I wanted to kind of like pursue. Like I had a lot of different ideas that I wanted to pursue and kind of just create those ideas and actually have them tangible. I felt like the corporate world wasn't allowing me to do that at that moment. So I was like, how can I start a business? At first, I really wasn't trying to start a business. I took like a new venture class in college, have like a degree in business. But I thought like the corporate ladder route was one I was going to take. And then I like met one of my managers like right out of college as an intern. And I was just realizing like this is not the best life I want to live right now. So I started coming up with different ideas, didn't pursue anything. I started reading like more books, listening to like YouTube videos. I'm just like, I'm gonna just try to take this chance, take a percentage of my paycheck to put towards my events, invest a little bit of money as well. So then I started kicking sports in 2017.
Mhm. So, you when you were going through college, what classes did you take? Any classes or anything then, other than that would have that gave you the idea that somewhere down the line, I'm not going to stay in corporate America. I better be ready to run a business.
No, not necessarily. I think business school kind of sets you up more for like the corporate
Mhm.
America
Yeah.
space. But yeah, that new venture class kind of exposed me to entrepreneurship for like I wouldn't say the first time, because like me and my friend used to cut grass in our neighborhood when we was in like high school.
Yeah, that
But
was the GoFundMe of the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. Mow your neighbor's lawn. Yeah.
yeah, so we used to do like little odd jobs every once in a while during the summertime. We wasn't like playing around.
Mhm.
But so that was kind of, I guess I can say that's like my first exposure. Then the second exposure would be in college, and I also was a part of fraternity, so that kind of helped me like learn about like money and kind of like hosting events and kind of like doing like marketing stuff, because we had to like fundraise for our social and our like educational events.
Okay.
So that
I thought the fraternities was just like beer parties and toga. Oh no.
nah, that's a small percentage of it, but we definitely do party. But definitely like doing educational events and social events is something that we always try to get people involved in as a fraternity on campus. So that kind of like helped me get off my comfort zone, talk to people, like pass out flyers and stuff like that too. And then the new venture class, we kind of like did like a whole business plan. Try to like pitch the business to our classmates and things like that. And then after that, I was like, it's a lot of work. I don't know if I'll be able to do this once I graduate. So I was like, I'm gonna go to the corporate America route. Then I was like, nah, I don't think this is the right thing for me anymore. I need to figure out what else I want to do with my life besides this. And I like read a lot about a lot of people who like started with like a lot less than I did, and they were successful. So I was like, if they can do it, then why can't I do it either? So,
it's the idea though of going through school. All right, you get out now and you end up change courses. Do you wish I wished I would have taken this class in school instead of done this one? You get any of that going on, or?
not necessarily. Sometimes I did think that I should have so I got a degree in business management. So sometimes I think I should have did more like specialized, like maybe like finance or accounting. I like finance and I like accounting, but I don't think I like it enough to like take all finance and accounting classes. So I think like management was a good direction for me, so I can like take and understand different aspects of businesses. So like marketing, finance, accounting, personal finance and stuff like that. So now I definitely enjoy my business program 100%. I don't, yep.
Yeah. but now you're an entrepreneur. Is this your only function, or are you still working like a part-time job to support it and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still working to support it. So most of the money I make just goes straight to, I was trying to like save like percentages of my paycheck. So I use that, then I pursue other stuff. Then I have like, because I'm busy with like working full time sometimes. So I just try to hire freelancers. So you can find me on Upwork, hiring people to do like videos for me. I have like ebooks that I come out, so I like write the content of it, and then I just have someone do the illustration for me. And I have like writers to kind of do all of the editing and stuff like that. So I'm like the content. I would say I'm like the creator, and then I like to get people to help me put the puzzles together. And then I kind of like I'm like the puzzle piecer maker, whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's my my bookkeeper and accountant, up in New York. I mean, I've known him as his own accountant and bookkeeper for years. Finally, he went one day, okay, I can't do this all. So now, like every time, like, they're changing my corporation over to something, I get an email from somebody else who I didn't even know was on his team. Right? This guy's got more people on his teams from more parts of the world that I don't even know. All right. And I'm like, well, dude, well, it's not just you anymore, is it? He goes, no. Yep. He says, I realized this is what I was good at. I hire everybody else to do everything outside of this. I don't do.
Yeah, that's how it is. Like definitely with being an entrepreneur, kind of like focus on your strengths, and then you just hire for your weaknesses. That's kind of like my saying or my mantra of entrepreneurship. Cool.
So I mean, you're in this 4 years now. Where do you see this in 10 years? Where do you see this going to be in 10 years? You've got that. You have that golden plan in your mind, or I should say, in business, the golden ideal. Because plan A never works. It's always plan B.
Yeah, maybe plan C, D, and E sometimes.
Yes, I've been there, my friend.
Yeah, so definitely, like I mentioned, want to go to the B2B route. So I definitely see like working with like top businesses to work with. So like those Apples or Googles, possibly hosting those type of events with them. Starting off here in Atlanta with like smaller businesses, or kind of like coming up like a tournament base to like getting like different groups of businesses together who have some type of a wellness program, who want their community members or their organization members to have that health and wealth I can even say it, aspect, and also have that mindset. And then also look for like ways that they can kind of network outside their own company. So like that's like one idea that I thought about in the next couple of years, is like getting different organizations and having a tournament based style. So like 6 to 8 businesses coming together, and they all have like 1 or 2 days of playing games and like just being able to support each other and have a tournament style. And then once we get to like those big companies that have thousands of employees, and having, since a lot of companies are also like working from home right now as well, they'll be able to bring those employees together for a few hours a day, or for like a couple hours or a few days out the week to network with each other, to get to know each other better, get competitive, and learn more about each other in like a team environment.
Cool. And have you thought about bringing in like, you know what I mean? Or are you maybe in the talks to try to get this in, is bringing like celebrities in, like, you know what I mean? You've got a couple different, professional sports teams down there in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Trying to bring in somebody from the Falcons, or you know what I mean, or somebody from your basketball team and stuff like that, or the Braves.
Yeah, that definitely has been a thought too. So I know, since I think the NCAA is definitely like loosen up laws or rules about college athletes. So I also thought about getting some college athletes to start off with, and just seeing how I can get them involved in the events, have them come play a couple games with us, depending on like of course, the rules, or you can say, because I don't want anybody to get hurt for sure.
Yeah,
I would have that liability, but of course, just getting them involved, trying to see like, since it's so early in the game, I think it'll be a good idea to try to look into like NCAA laws in Georgia and see if we can tap into. We have like Georgia Tech here, Georgia State, University of Georgia is about an hour and a half away. So we have those athletes from those schools that are available, possibly, that can help us out with the event, that can also get involved early, and hopefully we can kind of build that relationship in the long term. They may either be in the NFL or NBA or WNBA, in the soccer leagues and stuff like that. So that's definitely has been on my mind lately, since the NCAA just changed that up a couple years ago. And then of course, well, actually this year. And then of course, looking into those retired athletes, and also athletes that are in the midst right now. So just looking for like sponsorships as well, from like Hawks, Falcons, the Braves, like those opportunities, Coca-Cola. So it's definitely a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's right. Coca-Cola's down there. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We have a tons of businesses down here, just really like building those relationships and let them know like what value we can bring into their companies and why they should work with us. So
I was just thinking along the lines, like I do my events, and I got this from my business coach, and like I don't necessarily have all the names of all the celebrities who are showing up.
Yeah,
I don't market it. I just like, oh, by the way, I got a surprise guest. Yeah, this guy who was in the movie, Moneyball. He's just stopping by here to say hi to you guys today. And I was like, whoa, because it wasn't advertised. Yeah. And I can imagine showing up to play like Frisbee, and like Shaq walks in. I'd be like,
that'd be amazing if you get Shaq to come out. Shaq, Charles Barkley.
Shaq, it looks like, if you watch the commercials, I think Shaq's like for sale. I mean, he's on everything.
He really is. The Rock has been on a lot of stuff too. So
yeah. So I mean, those are just, that's just stuff I was thinking along that lines. Like, man, I would try to tap into the celebrities coming by, and not necessarily playing, just have them come by.
Yeah. Atlanta's a huge hub for celebrities too. We have a lot of entertainment industry here. So, and like you mentioned, those sports leagues as well. So there's a lot of people on the radios who's like artists and everything like that. So it's definitely a good avenue to tap into.
I have noticed that since I moved to the South in '98, that a lot of your sports players, your celebrities, have homes in places like Atlanta, New Orleans, Dallas, Houston, Austin. I mean, like you would think, like when you meet these people, you're like, oh, they have a house in Beverly Hills. That's all they live in.
Yeah, you think.
They live in Atlanta. They go to Beverly Hills to make a film, but they go back to their house in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Or like, I think Patrick Swayze was like New Mexico or something like that. You know, it's like the places in the South that are just beautiful to come hang out with. That's where they get their houses. Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot slower than those big cities like LA, New York, Chicago. So so you want to come to like get like a little bit slower pace. Not as much craziness going on. People actually sleep down here in the South. So
I don't know. I've driven around the Beltway of Atlanta. Okay. I don't find that slow at all. I'm just.
It depends on what time you come. If you come between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock, you're going to be stuck.
Yeah, I've landed at Atlanta's airport at 4 p.m. one time, and I had to go down to it was east off of 20 somewhere that I had to go to speak at an event, and I'm like at 4 o'clock, and like I looked at the traffic, and I'm like, I sat in like a Jack in the Box for 2 hours and just read a book. I'm like, I'll wait till traffic dies down before I try this. You know?
Yes, that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to know the sweet spots. For sure.
So, well, I mean, you know, you got a college education. You know what I mean? I'm an entrepreneur without one. All right. My dad never went back to college until he became a teacher at a Votech school. And then my brother, Kenny, who's one down from me, in his 40s, went back and got his high school diploma, college education, and he's the first one in our family to have a master's degree. Oh, wow. How many people in your family have college as part of their background, or are you the first?
Yeah, so like my nuclear family, like me and my mom, of course, and my dad and sister. I think me and my mom graduated at the same time, actually. So that's pretty interesting. And then my sister graduated a few years ago, and then of course outside of that, I think one of my cousins was one of the first ones to get a degree. I think back in the 90s.
Wow.
So a couple of us have a couple of degrees, things like that. I just only have my bachelor's right now.
Yeah.
Then I have, of course, a bachelor's in entrepreneurship, I guess you could say, because, you know, it's definitely a grind
I think I got
out
a doctorate in entrepreneurship. All right. And I still feel like I still need to get a master's in it.
Exactly.
It's a field that continues to educate you.
Yeah, it does. You got to stay with the trend sometimes. You got to learn how to pivot, learn how to grow. Hire people. It's never ending, but it's definitely fun. I enjoy it.
I tell people now I would rather be an entrepreneur and work 80 to 90 hours a week to avoid getting that 40-hour a week job.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I agree for sure.
Yeah. You know, so it's interesting. So you came from a family. Did anybody in your family history, were any of them entrepreneurs, have their own business, start their own companies?
Yeah, my granddad has a small business. So he has a used appliance store.
Oh, wow.
So he helps fix like washing machine, dryers, refrigerators, and stuff like that. So I grew up watching him and my dad work together in their little shop and stuff. So that was pretty cool seeing how they did business and like seeing back in the phone book days. I go to their name in the phone book. I'm like, that's my granddad's business right there. But that was pretty cool back in the 90s as well. So I think that's one of my first. And then my other granddad also has like a lawn care business as well. So I think like that generation definitely got into entrepreneurship. A lot of them like are really good with like making things and building stuff like that. So I think they gave me like one of that first exposures to how to start your own business, how you can grind it out, making money on the side, have a couple other jobs to support your family and stuff like that.
So, and you and the wife have kids yet or no?
Oh, I'm definitely single, so no wife over here yet. No kids, thank goodness. I think my business as my kid, so because it's got to give money into that all the time, and then also keep that going. But that's like my first baby. But right now, I don't have any children, so.
Because that's usually my next ask is usually, I mean, so you have a grandfather who was an entrepreneur. What are you going to do when your kid comes along? You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
yeah. Do you have kids?
I have adult kids. My youngest, all right, just turned 30.
Okay, so yeah, I'm the same age as your youngest.
So my youngest just turns 30, and he works for an internet security company out of Israel, here in the Dallas area. All right, and then my middle daughter, my middle is a daughter, and she actually is a ghostwriter. And she is so good of a ghostwriter that not even I know the people she's written books for.
Wow.
And because she wanted to be a writer, and that was their best way to keep it under. You know what I mean? It's like innovative. The best way to learn how to write without letting everybody find out who you were before you read your own book.
Yeah.
I thought that she's just brilliant that way. And then my oldest, he's also in internet security, and he's worked for companies like Verizon, you know what I mean, security companies,
Mhm.
all right, all the way down to like, you know, internet and your what do they call it? Your phone companies. So yeah.
Right.
So and then you know, they're all of them have got an entrepreneurial thing to them, but
Mhm.
they're all, you know, with except for my daughter, all right, they're all employed with somebody right now.
Yeah.
My daughter isn't. She comes in and out of being employed with people. She'll go work for somebody, and then she'll, you know, I can't take this, and she'll go back to writing somebody else's book again.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for sure because, like, definitely if you start your entrepreneurial journey and you try to go back, it's like going back and staying with your parents. Like after you leave home and then you
Mhm.
go back home, it's not the same.
You know, it is something that gets into your blood. All
Yep.
right, it is very hard to get out. Once you get that taste of freedom, all right, you don't want to work a job ever again.
Yep.
And you know, and I know as you're building a team now, what are you going to do as your team comes on and then they want to go do something and be an entrepreneur? Are you going to be the guy to encourage them? Or are you going to
Yeah.
keep them?
Definitely try to encourage them. I think you put in like good energy in the world, you usually get it back. So I think just trying to help people accomplish their goals is definitely good energy. So if you're out there, you meet people who want to kind of do their own thing. I think also always encouraging them is always the best way to do it because people have their own dreams, and just because you need them doesn't mean necessarily that meant for them to be with you for the rest of the time of
That
their like
is
working career.
that is awesome. That is just awesome to hear because that has been my philosophy for years. I would rather have a great employee for 3 years on
Hmm.
his way to his dream, all right, than have someone with no dream with me for 20 years because they'll just run
Yeah.
my company down.
Exactly. You want somebody with goals out here for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, are you finding though in your world right now a lot of driven people? Because let's face it, the last year and a half, 2 years, we've been in a world where everybody's kind of shut in and doesn't want to come out.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean. And we can listen to some people in the news say, "Well, they're lazy and they don't want to work." Are you finding people that are going, you know, I want to be around encouraging people like you, as opposed to, nah, I just want to sit and watch TV?
Yes, I found a lot of people who also has like that entrepreneurial drive. A lot of my friends start their own businesses or up and coming like me, trying to like make their dreams come true. So I think it just depends on like where you network with and like where you meet people.
Mhm.
So I think that kind of depends on like who your friends will be and what kind of like drive they have. So if I go to like a networking event, I usually meet people who have like entrepreneurial mindset, conferences and stuff like that, as well as like events. Whenever I go to an event, I try to like meet like the owner or like the host and stuff like that. And those usually people who have entrepreneurial mindsets as well. So I think it just depends on where you are. There's definitely people who are comfortable with being employees and stuff like that, which is not a problem at all. A couple of my friends who I went to college with is 100% just okay with working for her company and his companies. But I just thought that we just have different mindsets, which is nothing wrong. But we're still like close friends and things like that.
How many of those friends are going, hey, you know, Lawrence, when you got a job for me, I'm there? How many of your friends said that? When you got room, I'm on your team.
No one has told me that. Yeah, I've been trying to recruit them sometimes, but they're definitely supportive though. But they don't. I don't think they want to work for me yet.
How many people though are? So you got some supportive people. How many people you have who are trying to kill your dream?
Not many people,
That,
luckily.
oh God, that's so good to hear.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't try to kill it. That's surprising for me because I know a lot of people say there's a lot of haters out there, but I haven't really experienced that. So most of my friends, I usually hit them up, say, "Hey, I have an event this coming weekend," and a lot of them actually show up. So a lot of them was there for since day one. You can see some of my friends like the pictures and stuff like that. I tag them on Instagram and things like that. So a lot of them who like enjoy playing sports and enjoy like meeting people, they've been at the event since the beginning, which is super great. It's a great feeling to have that support system. My mom and my dad comes to my events, my sister, a few of my family members as well. So yeah, I've had a pretty good supportive system right now. Just trying to get it back. Since COVID, we kind of took a little pause, but still trying to get it back going here in 2021.
I mean, COVID would be a unique way to try to do something virtual. Are you even trying that, or going, you know what, we're just gonna put this on hold?
Yeah, I thought about it, but I'm mostly just trying to focus on like the outdoor events right now. Luckily, Atlanta's restrictions isn't too strict.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been like outdoor activities and events taking place. So a lot of people I think I met has been vaccinated as well. So we're definitely trying to get our next event coming October 3rd. So that's the date that we have set. and we're looking to get that going here in Atlanta.
Cool. I love it that you're actually. But yeah. We're shooting for November 4th and 5th right now. We're trying to host an event again. Hopefully, we got an event November 4th.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, really. I think my coach and friend, his is like right around the date of yours here in Dallas, and this is his first one he's done in Dallas. He used to do them in LA, and he moved to Dallas through COVID, and he's like going, man, I hope people show up. And I'm like, I said that's one of the reasons I'm doing my events to where it doesn't cost me a lot of money this time because
that's the trick.
Show up.
Yeah, trying to keep costs low is definitely in this kind of environment is kind of the main goal. Just trying to figure out what is actually needed and what costs are needed versus like what is just nice to have. So trying to distinguish between those two.
Cool. Well, that takes me to a question I want to ask you on the, on building your business and keeping costs low. All right. How are you plugged into like a mentor or somebody who, a coach that helps you, that you can realize, hey man, I need help. What's your opinion on this?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of different mentors throughout my life. I think I like to see like every phase of my life, like whenever I hit like a milestone or something, I think I kind of get a new mentor. I just try to like gravitate towards people who I want to be successful, who's successful, and try to like figure out what's their secrets. So I have a few mentors right now. So I have like maybe 3 or 4 that I kind of knock ideas off of and trying to get some feedback from. So yeah, definitely trying to keep that mentor group. A lot of them are like in their mid 40s, so a few years older than me. They've been in an entrepreneurial game for a few years. Not all of them are entrepreneurs, but some of them still have like that finance mindset or like the investing mindset and just kind of have like just experience with being in business. So just try to keep my network strong, asking questions of like, how can I do this? Like, what do they recommend with keeping costs low? Like, what can I do with like flyers and t-shirts and who can I work with or partner with and things like that.
That is cool, man. So, another question in the mentoring field I'd like to ask everybody. When I was 21 years old, I had a boss at a part-time job gave me job advice that turned out to be life advice. All right. And he wasn't giving it to be life advice. He was just trying to help me do my job.
Right.
And that advice was, Tim, I want you to run your shift at this gas station like you own the company.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I've learned to take ownership of everything I do in my life. Did someone give you advice when you were younger that maybe was, hey, this is how you get through today, and it turned out to be something that drives you till this day?
Yeah, so I know I mentioned earlier about the internship I had straight out of college. So that manager, he exposed me to a lot of like books that I read. I think Rich Dad Poor Dad is a lot of people's first books of entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So that definitely does help change your mindset about like acquiring assets, like being a business owner versus an employee. Mm-hmm. He's just mentioned like he kind of got me into like real estate investing, like the idea of that. And then he also got me into looking for ways that I can like bring value to any market that I'm in. Always like learning new different things, like having meetings with different people to ask questions, setting up that like FaceTime and going to lunch with like random people within your business. So like he taught me about like networking, kind of like thinking outside the box and trying to like figure out ways to like mold me into becoming like an investor / entrepreneur.
I know. I remember when I first read that book, I just wanted to be self-employed. And then when I self-employed, I wanted to have a business. And then when I had a business, now I'm trying to build it. And now I'm trying to be an investor. It's like everything in that book teaches you to take the next and go to the next level. You notice
exactly.
It's trying to teach you to go to the next level. It always does. And if you get around mentors who've read that book, they try to get you to do the same thing.
Yep.
That's the way life is. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite books for sure. Starting off, I like reading that one.
Yeah, I read books. My biggest books that I had to read, it would be the early 90s when you were younger, is books that were about like your mindset. I read this book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And it was all about, what you are subconsciously telling yourself. That was the biggest thing because I kept, when I was younger, I lived in a community of people that were great to tell you, well, you can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That made the difference. I needed that. Whereas you sound like you were in a community that they took care of that for you. You understand what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wrote that book down. I'm gonna check that one. I always like adding stuff to my library. So definitely take a look at that one.
Cool. Well, honest, I want to make sure people can get a hold of you. What is the best website that they can reach out, get a hold of you, find out more about what you do?
Yeah, so you can find us at www.thekickingitsports.com.
Okay.
And of course, we have various social media sites, Instagram and Facebook. Also have TikTok. So I've been playing around with TikTok a little bit. So all of those are at Kicking It Sports _. So KICKINGIT Sports _ we're pretty active on there, try to be as active as possible, posting different things about our events as well as other people's events, and also like fun highlights, sports highlights. So like for me, like my favorite is watching like ESPN's top 10. So whenever I see like a cool move or a cool goal or a cool like crossover catch, I try to post it on our page. So you can always check out some cool things like that, trick shots and stuff like that on our page as well.
I would do a blog after every one of your events about the top 10 things at your event, dude. That's a blog post every event right there.
We have some YouTube videos of our top highlights. So we have like some catches, some one-handed catches. We have some interceptions that we have. We have some inner park home runs where people kick it and always score around. So you also look us up on YouTube as well too.
Yeah, it's just like I've been blogging is where I started, so it's like I'm always thinking about what to write in an article, so it's on my site forever.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's always been my thing. Where we're at, but yeah, I'm huge on YouTube, huge on Facebook, huge on Twitter and Instagram as well. But man, it's just like you said that I'm like, dude, there's your highlight, there's your blog right there. Good time, man. David, what was that? David Letterman's top 10. This event. Well, Elandas, it's been fun having you on the show today and getting to know a little bit about you. But before we go, I have a little game that I like to play with all my guests.
Am I ready for that?
Are you ready for this? Can you handle the truth? Yeah.
I don't know yet. We have to see.
I've got 9 questions, this or that. Some are going to be fun. We're going to have a discussion. Some are going to be like, yeah, okay, move on. We'll find out as we go.
Don't set me up, Tim. Make sure you don't set me up too bad on this.
I heard you're a sports guy. I set you up and you spike them, baby. Number 1 is Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. See, you grew up in the 2nd generation of Star Wars. I grew up in the 1st generation of Star Wars.
I just finished watching the last one like last week, 2 weeks ago. Like
episode
9 or
last one. Yeah, that last one that they did with the I haven't watched any of the series that came out on Disney, but the last one they did was The Last Jedi. Yeah. Oh man, I mean, when it came out, that was a family outing to go watch that. I think we took up like 25 seats to have the whole thing to watch that movie together.
Wow.
Yeah, huge for us. Yeah, huge. Yeah. How about this one? You kind of alluded to it, but all right. Are you a guy who likes to listen to audiobooks or podcasts, or would you rather read the book?
That's a good question. I think I'd rather read it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Lately, I've gotten more to balance. Like sometimes I want to listen to it, sometimes I just want to read it. And it's a balance between the two. Of which, you'd asked me that question 20 years ago. Book. Mm-hmm. I would have never thought plug your phones in, and listen to it. Never. You know what I mean? But I did have audiobooks in the early 90s. I used to listen to them on cassette tape in my truck when I was driving 18-wheeler. And we had a thing back then that you basically could rent the tape, like Blockbuster.
Oh, wow.
Rent the tape at a truck stop, and you return it at another truck stop and get a new one.
I've never heard of that before.
That was the earliest version of entertainment for truckers, because you're driving for like hours on end. All you got is what you can listen to the radio. Anyway,
that's cool.
It was a cool thing at the time. So it was like books on tape. It was the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. This next one here kind of relates a little bit to what you do. Are you a dress up kind of guy, or you want to wear sweatpants or yoga pants everywhere?
Definitely sweatpants, t-shirts. In the wintertime, I wear hoodies a lot. Shorts, of course. But yeah, definitely. I like dressing up every once in a while, but not too often.
I figured you for the guy I'd see in workout clothes everywhere. I just figured you for that. I don't know why. Yeah.
Yep.
No. All right, let's move on to our food products categories. The next one being hamburger or taco.
Ooh, that's a hard one.
They both good.
They are good. Those are like my top favorite American. Well, I guess Mexican is tacos, but I'm gonna have to go tacos. I can always love eating tacos every day.
Yeah. And I know you're old enough now, so the next food category is beer or wine.
I think I go with wine.
Wine? Yeah. You can tell. 30 is the age where you start veering off of the beer from college and going to
Yeah, that's true.
But wait a minute. But as you get over 30, I've only ever had one person I knew in my world. It was my neighbor when I lived down by the lake house. And he was my age. He was in his 40s, 50s. Mm-hmm. And he drank like Keystone Light beer. And I'm like, dude, you're in your 40s and 50s. You don't have to drink beer, water that tastes like beer anymore. All right. Go buy real beer. All right. And he finally, I drink, we have like Shiner's a big beer here in Texas. We have like Shiner in the refrigerator. And then I have a wine rack over in my other room here that's got like 150 bottles of wine on it.
Oh, wow.
But then in my office over here, I have a moonshine bar. So, yeah.
Yeah, my uncle is big
close to where you're at. So, yeah.
Yeah, my uncle, he loves like moonshine. So he tried to get us to taste it sometimes. But
yeah, my grandfather made it. So,
oh, wow.
That's what you can relate. I mean, come on. We're in this part of the country where we understand that concept. Yeah. Yeah. So, my next one here, I'm gonna test your music abilities.
Okay.
All right. Are you a blues guy or are you a hip hop guy?
Definitely hip hop.
I figured you.
My mom is a blues.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely hip hop.
So, does any of your family play instruments?
Yeah, my granddad, I think he plays an instrument. I don't know which one it is though, but he's a super jazz guy. We have a jazz festival here in Atlanta. Yeah. So he's always going to the jazz festival. He has record tapes and stuff like that still. So he's definitely all blues. And then my mom like grew up around him, so she also likes the blues and like R&B and stuff. But me, I'm strictly hip hop. For me, I like other stuff, but I listen to hip hop like 85% of the time.
Yeah, I was saying, it's like, the South, all right, there's certain pockets that are like, jazz blues, all right, but then like Atlanta is huge on hip hop. That's why I was asking that, figuring that along. Here in Dallas, I would ask the question, all right, so is it blues or country western? Because like here, that's what they'll well, let me move on and ask you something in the sports field, all right? Is it called football or soccer?
That's a trick question.
I know it is. That's why I asked it.
It's the same thing depending on how you spell it, right?
I was just football. I was just saying, Americans, we call it football, but soccer is, like soccer. It's football overseas. They call it football. Soccer, we call it soccer in America. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but I wanted to throw that trick question in and see if you're a sports guy. That's my knowledge of sports. That's the best I could come up with to trick you in sports.
Yeah, definitely. Since international, like soccer is super big. Well, football is super big internationally. So I definitely would say football. But yeah, like you said, in America we call it soccer. But we're like the only place they call it soccer, though.
I know. Yeah, my second wife was from Brazil, and she couldn't understand when I kept saying, "Let's go to the football game like Cowboys."
Yeah.
But then we also installed, when she was here before she moved back to Brazil, they put a soccer stadium up in north of Dallas. Mm-hmm. She had connections that we would go to those games all the time, but trying to get her to go to a Cowboys game, not interested. But she would go to that all the time because that's what she grew up with in Brazil.
Yeah, I would love to check out a Cowboys game.
I would too, and I'm an Eagles fan. Trust me, it goes over very well that way. I grew up in Philadelphia. I'm an Eagles fan. We have two favorite teams, the Philadelphia Eagles and whoever's playing Dallas. Tell that joke in Dallas for 25 years. They love you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I bet they will.
But yeah, when I moved here in '98, I said, it would be great to live in a town that has a Super Bowl win because I never lived in it.
Yeah. Since
I've moved here in 1998, the Cowboys have never made it past the second round of the playoffs. And the Eagles went to the Super Bowl twice and won once.
Yep. They was in there with 2018 or 19, I think they went.
Yeah. Oh, it was like 17 or 18. Yeah, it was like around there. Yeah. And then then it went back to the following year. It's the Patriots, and then of course, as an Eagles fan, the first year the Kansas City Chiefs won, the coach of Kansas City used to be the Eagles coach, and every Eagles fan in the world was rooting for him because he never won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, but he was a great coach, and we were so happy when he won that Super Bowl. It's just So, but of course, my one of my close friends is a huge Kansas City fan. So
I like Kansas City a lot. I like the Eagles, of course. I grew up loving Brian Dawkins back in the day. And also like the Buccaneers a little bit. Of course, I love the Falcons. They just always disappoint us, but it's hard
Trust
being
me, here in Dallas, the Cowboy fans understand you.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I was a California, LA fan because they seem to be winning everything these days.
I know. It's just bizarre that they're coming out of everywhere. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, my last two ones are the controversial questions I ask everyone, and the next one would be: in your house, does the toilet paper go over on the roll or under?
I think it goes over.
Do you even care?
I don't care at all.
Hi, there's my friend right there. High five, man. Yeah.
Don't look at it often.
Yeah.
I just roll it and that's it.
My wife's like, we have two bathrooms. One's the bedroom, downstairs with the wife. That one there, it's over. Upstairs is my office bedroom. It's sitting on the back of the toilet.
I was gonna say that I don't think I even have a roller.
Yeah, really. It's like, wow. Yeah. My last one, I love asking the guys this one: boxers or briefs?
It depends on the day. If it's summer, I would say boxers, but I like briefs. They're pretty comfortable.
Yeah. We because growing up it was one or the other. Now we have a combination called boxer briefs, which us old men are starting to like. So Anyway, questions aren't that bad, my friend. That's what we get.
They're good. Those are good questions.
All right. Well, Elandas, one more time, I want you to tell them the website so they can find you and get to connect with you. Take this to another level. Maybe support one of your events coming up.
Yeah. So Elandas Miller here. You can find us at thekickinitsports.com. Have our next event on October 3rd. Looking to have it here in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you want to travel from Dallas or from any other southern city, you can come check us out. I'm going to have some food, some music, and lots of games and fun. It's definitely a good, cool vibe to be out there outdoors. It's going to be in October, so it shouldn't be too hot. Looking for perfect weather. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, the Kicking It Sports, and Kicking It Sports _ on Instagram. And just you can also DM me anytime, any questions about my business or any other business questions about my journey at the Hoodie CEO on Instagram. And I think that's where you can find me.
Cool. A lot of information to connect with you. And so you're going to play music like hip hop, or are you going to play jazz?
Hip hop for short. all my friends know that I'm like a huge Drake fan, so you can always find me listening to Drake on any given day.
Cool, man. Thank you so much for coming on, being a part of the show.
Thank you so much, Tim.
It's so great getting to know you.
It was super fun. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to have this conversation with me. I enjoyed it a lot. It was super high energy, so I love high energy interviews and podcasts. So definitely thank you again for having me on. It's been an honor.
Cool. Well, that I want to say thank you to you, and thank you to you, the listeners. Do me a favor, listeners. Go check out thekickingitsports.com. Check this guy out. Follow him on his social channels. He has got some awesome stuff going on in Atlanta, Georgia. In the meantime, guys, I'm Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and I'll be back tomorrow with another great guest just for you. In the meantime, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you then. Bye.